We're joined once again by retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton. I know you have served. We are so grateful for your service, and we're grateful for your insights here. So with inflation being one of the top concerns Americans have, not just in general, but specifically because of this Russia-Ukraine situation, the cost of these deployments, does that ever come into the mind of the government at a time like this? Or is it just any cost is worth it because they know what they have to do?
Well, good morning, Adrienne. It's always good to be with you. I think Marley broke it down very effectively. Let me just stop with a really broad top line here, and that is freedom is not free. And again, wherever our national security interests are threatened, and in this case, with Putin so aggressively and ruthlessly attacking and invading Ukraine, I believe that absolutely our national security interests are threatened. That said, the most expensive part of the U.S. military is our people. Not only how we're organized, not only how we train, but again, how we equip our men and women in uniform. We have 2.2 million men and women in uniform. That includes the vast majority of those are on active duty. As you mentioned at the top of the show, those getting ready to deploy or already deployed from Fort Bragg over into Europe and so forth. And so that is a high cost, but I believe it's one that we as Americans are willing to incur, especially if you look at our history, but if you look at today's world events. Again, it's been through decades, going back from World War II to certainly, through the Cold War, and now it's 1-800 call the United States. And when you 1-800 call the United States, it's going to be the U.S. military.
Well,
and so it does come with a cost.
I think that is something that a lot of our older generations can absolutely agree with and understand. Mm-hmm. But I think for a lot of people right now, and I brought this up with an earlier guest, people are concerned that we're not taking America's interests and making them a priority, and that perhaps we're actually getting involved in matters that don't directly affect us. What would you say to that in terms of the cost and relativity to the U.S.?
Well, first and foremost, I would tell them that Putin is a threat not only to our very close European allies through NATO, but also through U.S. national interests as well. Let's break it down into something maybe folks can understand, especially at the gas pump. Russia, again, produces 10.1 million barrels of oil a day. If that is cut off, or if there's not access to that could potentially be an oil crisis that we haven't seen perhaps since the early 70s. That's a challenge. And then obviously you're going to have the price of the pump go up. That's a cost that the American people will directly incur. Now, whether or not we can directly challenge Putin on that note at this point in terms of the invasion is to be seen. That's why the economic sanctions are so important. That's why we need to continue to really press hard.
Yes.
But again, I would tell the American people and all generations that, again, freedom is not free. We cannot take that for granted. And I can almost guarantee you every man and woman who's all volunteers, 2.1 million men and women volunteering. And I've got a son-in-law who's in Air Force Special Operations. All are willing to sacrifice their lives for the defense of this nation, not only in generations past who've demonstrated that, but generations in today's United States military. One more point, if I may. Also, alongside those men and women in uniform are their family members. And I think it's up to the American, American people also want us to take good care of them as they serve alongside their loved ones, as they volunteer to go to harm's way, like we're seeing with these troops out of Fort Bragg. By the way, with our 80,000 men and women in uniform already positioned in Europe. Again, this is really the pointy edge of the spear. There's a cost that comes with that, but I believe it's a cost that we as American people should incur, can incur, and must incur in order to keep our nation free.
Well, we certainly do appreciate our military and again, salute every single one of the members of the armed forces. We have a viewer question. Trudy from Florida is asking, how many troops from NATO countries are deployed to the Ukrainian border? Do you happen to have that insight?
Well, I can tell you what President Biden has authorized. He's authorized 800 additional troops who are already positioned in Europe to go up to the Baltics. The Baltics regions are Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. They are former republics under the Soviet Union, and he's positioned them up there to provide a defensive deterrence as Putin has now invaded Ukraine. That also includes F-35 jets that are already positioned in Europe. And so it comes out of that number I just gave you in terms of 80,000 troops that are already positioned in
throughout
Europe right
Europe.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout Europe, that's correct. But again, let me be very careful. It's a great question, but it's strictly a defensive maneuver. It's not one to incur any type of additional wrath or even think in terms of offensive forces. But I think it's a prudent move that he's authorized to put NATO troops or U.S. troops in NATO up in the Baltic region. And those three countries, by the way, are members of NATO.
Yes. General Richard Newton, thank you again for being with us. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.